Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hi everyone, my name is Matt Jarbo, this is the Mundane Matt channel, and Vidcon 2018, man, it's coming up a few months, 6 months to go I think, right? We're halfway through. Yeah, it's January. It's coming up in June, and yes, I plan on attending, and yes, I plan on having a great time, just like I did last year. But what I find to be funny is the updated Vidcon anti-harassment policy, because oh yeah, this is aimed at me and my garbage people that happen to hang out at Vidcon and cause absolutely no problems by just sitting and enjoying a panel. Remember, people sitting down and doing nothing and saying nothing, they're the bad guys here. But the people who are on stage talking down at their audiences, like Anita Sarkeesian calling Sargon of Akkad a garbage human, or my personal favorite was Cat Black on a panel about race and saying there needs to be fewer white people at Vidcon. These are the people that Vidcon put up there. These are the people that Vidcon promotes, and these are the people that are going to clearly not be impacted at all by the new anti-harassment policy. So let's take a quick look to see just how much we are boned if we go to Vidcon this year, because this is aimed at us because of the controversy from last time. So it says here, Vidcon is dedicated to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, disability, gender identity, age, race, or religion. We do not tolerate harassment of event participants in any form. Use of lewd or discriminatory language and imagery is never appropriate at Vidcon. Anyone violating these rules may be sanctioned or expelled from the event at the discretion of the event organizers. See, I love the line here. We do not tolerate harassment of events participants in any form. Yes, but what about when your event participants harass the audience or espouse blatantly racist claims? Do you say nothing there, John and Hank? Yeah, you kinda don't. You kinda sit on your hands or put them in your ears and go la 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 la, and you expect it all to be fine. I'm sorry, dude. I gotta let you know you're kind of full of crap here. Now, what is the definition of harassment? Let's take a look here to see what they're talking about. Harassment includes, but is not limited to, offensive verbal comments, blatant or via microaggressions related to gender or gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, national origin, religion, age, marital status, military status, or any other status protected by law. Deliberate intimidation, stalking, following, harassing, photography or recording, sustained disruption of talks or other events, inappropriate physical contact, display of offensive signs, gestures, t-shirts, symbols, etc. Attendees asked to stop harassing any behavior are expected to comply immediately. And again, I have to just kind of fall back on that point I made before. What about when it's your event participants who are the ones being the harassers? What about it when Anita Sarkeesian sat there and realized that people who were critical of her on the internet were sitting there quietly, politely, listening to a talk she was a part of? She looks over, she sees Dave Cullen, Andy Worski, Chris Worski, Sargon of Akkad, Chris Ray Gunn. She gets to the end of the row and she sees me. And that's when the phone comes out. And that's when security was called. I still find that funny. And then she sits there and repeatedly attacks Sargon of Akkad, calling him a shithead and a garbage person or garbage human from her position of power. Why was that not part of your anti-harassment policy? Why is that omitted from this, Hank? What are you trying to say? Is it that Anita can do no wrong? Yeah, kinda. You're kind of saying that there, buddy. You're kind of saying that. What about after the panel on the harassment of online bullying, cyberbullying, right? Anita, Bookie298 sitting next to each other. Bookie gives this powerful, epic speech about how anyone can be a victim of harassment. And as we learned from just 2 days earlier, Anita Sarkeesian, who claims to be the queen of receiving harassment on the internet, verbally harassed Sargon of Akkad a few times from her own panel there. She turns to him after the fact and she says, what the fuck, and goes after him, and they go into this conversation, but she verbally chided him because he had the last word and he discounted her narrative, and he talked about it openly. She, an event participant, verbally accosted another event participant. Nothing happened. Favoritism, Hank Green? Is it favoritism that you look the other way instead of acknowledging that you guys on your own merch store sell Anita Sarkeesian Femme Freak shirts? It seems like a little bit of a conflict of interest there. One of your event participants is harassing people who paid good money to be there, who have done nothing wrong. We're sitting in on a panel about women in the online space because they wanted to learn more. No one had tweeted, taken pictures. No one had said anything, done anything, alluded to there being a problem at all, alluded to there being a troll job at all, alluded to there being anything other than sitting down and watching a panel. But you had to side with the person who, at this point, is now a known on camera recorded harasser. Doesn't look very good there, Hank. Not at all. What is the definition of sexual harassment? Sexual harassment does not refer to occasional compliments or other generally acceptable social behavior. Really? Have you talked to Anita Sarkeesian recently? Sexual harassment refers to verbal, physical, and visual conduct of a sexual nature that is unwelcome and offensive to the recipient. By the way of example, sexual harassment may include such conduct as sexual flirtations, advances, or propositions, verbal comments or physical actions of a sexual nature, sexually degrading words used to describe an individual, an unwelcome display of sexually suggestive objects or pictures, sexually explicit jokes, and offensive unwanted physical contact such as patting, pinching, grabbing, groping, or constant brushing against another's body. It's okay. No, I'm totally on board with that, to be honest with you. I just find it funny that that's the last one. Overly revealing cosplay may result in requesting violators or to cover and or leave the convention floor. Attendees asked to stop any sexually harassing behavior are expected to comply immediately. I can't quite. So I'm kind of two minds on this one here. So you say here, overly revealing cosplay may result in requesting violators to cover and or leave the convention floor. So if someone is there wearing revealing cosplay, right, and their boobies are just hanging out because it's California and that's going to be a thing, and then someone's all like, woohoo, baby, yeah, woohoo, are you going to like, and she has a problem with that. Is she going to then go complain to security and say, that guy over there is verbally harassing me? And they'll be like, you, sir, need to go. And then they'll look at her and go, you, ma'am, need to go as well and cover up and come back. That would be funny. For no other reason than just would be funny. I think everyone would have a hearty laugh at that. Scope of policy. This anti-harassment policy applies to all attendees at Vidcon, including parties or participants attendees, guests, staff, sponsors, and exhibitors. All attendees are expected to comply with this event anti-harassment policy at the event venue and at all event-related social events. So participants, are you talking about your guests, your event guests, like Anita Sarkeesian, who verbally accosted Sargon of Akkad a couple times? That's recorded, heavily talked about when the event happened back in June. Is that something that you're going to be talking about? Is she going to have to adhere to the same rule of law as the rest of us here? I don't know. Here you go. If you're reporting an incident, this ought to be fun. And we'll have to keep very much in line of this one if there's ever a repeat of what happened last year. People sitting there peacefully enjoying a conversation between 5 women and talking about being in an online space and then being accosted by a woman on the panel. From a position of power. Talk about punching down, Hank. Aren't you against punching down? That is no better definition than a privileged woman punching down on a man in the crowd simply because he disagreed with her on the internet. And in a polite way, as evidenced by Sargon's response video. Yeah, you're kind of walking a tight line there, buddy. Now, if you are being harassed, notice that someone else is being harassed, or have any other concerns, please contact a Vidcon staff member immediately. Vidcon staff can be identified with their official staff name badges. All complaints will be treated seriously. If you cannot find a staff member to assist you, please go to the registration area located outside ACC North. Okay, well, there we go on that one, Hank. I will do that this upcoming year. I don't expect there to be a problem. I don't expect there to be an issue. A group of like-minded content creators here on YouTube getting together, having themselves a grand, fantastic time. And if you go and look at most of our coverage of VidCon, we loved it. We had a lot of fun. We're planning to go again this year. We're going to give you more of our money because we had such a grand experience. We just want to be treated as equal as everybody else. And it appears that you don't quite want to do that, which is sad because for a person who espouses the claims of loving equality and wanting equality, you don't really give it. And finally, disciplinary action. Let's see what the problem. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get into here. All reports of harassment will be directed immediately to Vidcon organizers, who may consult with and engage other staff, leaders, and legal counsel as appropriate. Event security and or local law enforcement may be involved, as appropriate based on the specific circumstances. In response to the report of harassment, Vidcon may take action they deem appropriate. Such actions range from a verbal warning to ejection from the event without a refund. Repeat offenders may be subject to further disciplinary action, such as being banned from participating in any future events. Now, I'm not going to lie. After the events of the last VidCon, where we were verbally assaulted, defamed, and harassed by Anita Sarkeesian on stage, we were all pretty much fearing that we were going to be banned from coming back this year. And it could still happen. Now, how fair is that? Those people, 30 plus people that were sitting there looking for a panel, were part of a group that was labeled as being garbage human, garbage people. One of our very own called a shithead. A shithead. By a woman on stage in a position of power. This coming after a stage in which, an event which Cat Black was calling for fewer people in VidCon. And that was at no point challenged by anyone else on the panel or anyone else in the audience. No one there challenged her. No VidCon staff came over and said, I'm sorry, you can't say that. That's kind of racist. No one challenged her because no one's going to. There's a certain mindset, a certain ideology, a certain narrative likes to be pushed forward at VidCon. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that is the case, Hank. If you want to be fair, if you want to be equal, which you claim you kind of do, but ultimately this kind of proves not, you would have a panel up there that would allow for actual discourse, civil discourse between an open air of ideas. The only thing we really got out of that was Boogie countering Anita's narrative. And what happened when he countered the narrative, and it ultimately caused a turning of the tides of the panel, the other 4 women on that panel to 1 man? And 3 of the 4 of that total panel, by the end, were like, harassment happens to everybody. And even the 4th person, the big Anita defender, by the end was like, yeah, it kind of happens to everybody. What did Anita do? She verbally chided Boogie 298 afterward. Will she be invited back this year, Hank? An event guest verbally assaulting another event guest to where he had to go make a video about it? Probably not. Because that, my friend, is not equality. That, my friend, is pushing a narrative. That, my friend, is not what you want VidCon to be about, but you've clearly made it that way. So if I find myself banned from VidCon, which I don't hope that I am, I actually plan on getting the industry pass because I'd like to learn more about the platform of YouTube and the platform of being an online internet content creator. That's what I'd like to learn. That's where I'm at right now. But I have different opinions than those people on stage. I sat there, I listened to their opinions. I didn't agree with their opinions, but I also didn't use that position, their position to attack them as they used their petition to attack us. Not fair. Not fair. Not right. Not equal. Certainly, according to this policy, not what VidCon represents. So let me ask you in closing here, Hank Green. What kind of VidCon do you want for the future? The kind that doesn't allow for an open discourse? The kind that doesn't allow for people of various opinions, various beliefs to show up and have a good time? Or the kind that allows its speakers, its guests, to verbally assault, humiliate, and defame those in the audience? And also other guests. I'll leave it to you. And I'll leave it to the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Curious to know your guys' thoughts here. Do you think VidCon will adhere to its own rules when it comes to people like Anita, of which they've publicly supported, as well as financially backed in terms of hosting her merchandise on their website? Or do you think that people like myself and Sargon of Akkad and Chris Raygun and the Warskis and Dave Cullen and Armored Skeptic and Shoe on Head and the Honey Badgers and the list goes on and on and on and on and on of people who were there are going to be banned for simply having a disagreement of opinion and also being the victims of a verbal assault from a woman in a position of power on a stage at a convention, apparently about, inclusivity? My questions to you. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, check back often for more content from me. If you happen to like what I do here and you want to see more videos from me, you can do so right now.